Good evening, Professor. This is Shelly Ann Jefferson with my final speech. This speech is a value persuasive speech regarding women's right to choose. All humans have rights: the right to equal opportunities, the right to education, the right to participate in politics, and most importantly, the right to make personal choices. In this day and age, women all over the world are still fighting for these basic human rights. One specific right that women have to be constantly fighting for is the right to choose to have an abortion or not, without being treated like a murderer or someone who has no value for life itself. This takes me to the heart of my conversation. The topic of abortion is not a pill easily swallowed by society, and quite frankly, it shouldn't be. Today's society has somehow criminalized abortion by taking a negative approach and by classifying abortion as a mortal sin that will send you straight to hell. Criminalizing abortion does not stop abortions, it simply makes abortions less safe. Preventing a woman and girls from accessing an abortion does not take away the need to have one. It forces women to seek unsafe ways to have an abortion. According to WHO, an estimate of 25 million unsafe abortions take place each year, mostly in developing countries. Compared to legal abortion that is practiced by trained medical professionals, unsafe abortion can have fatal consequences. Deaths and injuries from unsafe abortions are preventable. Unsafe abortions are the third leading cause of maternal deaths, which leads to an additional 5 million preventative disabilities. Many people regard the right to have control over one's own body as a key moral right. If women are not allowed to abort an unwanted fetus, they are deprived of this right. It's that simple. The U.S. Supreme Court decision in Roe v. Wade to some extent supported women's right to decide when it ruled that a woman's right to terminate her pregnancy came under the freedom of personal choice in family matters and was protected by the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution. So, is it unethical to ban abortion? Because doing so actually denies freedom of choice to women and forces the unwilling to bear the unwanted. Pregnancy has an enormous effect on the woman involved, as Sarah Weddington put it to the Supreme Court in Roe v. Wade. Quote, "A pregnancy to a woman is perhaps one of the most determinative aspects of her life. It disrupts her body, it disrupts her education, it disrupts her employment, and often disrupts her entire family life. And we feel that because the impact on the woman, this is a matter which is of such fundamental and basic concern to the woman involved that she should be allowed to make the choice as to whether to continue or to terminate her pregnancy." End quote. Of course, there are opposing arguments, attacking the idea that a fetus is part of a woman's body. The argument is based on the fact that a fetus is not a limb or an organ, and that it's not just a part of a woman's body, but is a separate person with its own right to live. While I agree with this statement, let's not forget that this person has to live within a woman's body for 9 months going into maturity. Let's say a woman or a girl was sexually assaulted, resulting in pregnancy. What choices would such a woman or girl be presented with? She would be expected to carry a child within her that she is unable to unconditionally love, which should be a natural paternal instinct for a female. She would feel resentment toward this fetus growing inside her being a part of her each time she felt it moving, knowing it could bear the physical or mental traits of her abuser. How can anyone be expected to or forced to love that what was created out of hate or anger? Let that sink in. This is the one reason I believe that women should have the right and maintain that right to choose whether or not to carry a fetus within her body based on the factor of how the fetus was conceived. With that being said, let's factor in the oh-so-holy Christians who believe that this is against the will of God or the Bible. My response to that? All have sinned and come short of the glory of God. Each person carries the burden of his own sin. Let he who has no sin cast the first stone. If society feels empowered by controlling a woman's right to make this choice, then how about controlling a man's ability to impregnate a woman? There is a safe and reversible procedure called a vasectomy. Woman has earned the right to choose. Women have a moral right to decide what to do with their bodies. The right to abortion is vital for gender equality. The right to abortion is vital for individual women to achieve their full potential. In conclusion, this argument reminds us that even in the abortion debate, we should regard the woman as a person and not just a container for the fetus. We should therefore give great consideration to her rights and needs as well as those of the unborn. Pro-choice women's rights activists do not take a casual or callous attitude to the fetus. The opposite is usually true, and most of them acknowledge that choosing an abortion is usually a case of choosing the least bad of several bad courses of action. Can you imagine your rights if your rights were taken or being used as a political ploy? Or your ability to make personal choices were stripped from you, a right that you were born with. Women have a right. Everyone has a right. We're all equal. Don't take from us what we're born with. Let us represent ourselves and make choices of our own that we think or feel is the best possible option that we have at that particular point. Thank you.